Here's a segment from a recent Gun Talk radio episode. You can listen to all the Gun Talk radio podcasts however you tune in, or check out guntalk.com for more. A regular here on the show, a friend of ours, a gun guy, has just done something quite amazing. CNN just added him to the lineup. He is the latest addition to the folks over at CNN. Stephen Gutowski from The Reload joins us right now. Stephen, welcome and congrats.
Hey, thank you, Tom. I appreciate it.
And I know you're doing something right when I looked online and I saw that people on the right and the left, pro-gun and anti-gun, were all hating you for this. So congrats.
Yes, thank you. I think it came a little more from the anti-gun side, but yeah, there was a variety of hate coming towards me for sure.
It really was. And then Shannon Watts, of course, was putting out tweets about, this is horrible. CNN has added this gun guy. It's like, oh, we can't have anybody who actually knows anything about the subject matter on CNN. So give us the backstory. How did this come about?
Yeah, well, I'm part of a larger team that they're putting together there that has people from really all sorts of different perspectives, but the goal is not to hire a bunch of new opinion commentators. They have plenty of those people, some really good ones. Mary Catherine Ham comes to mind; she's a friend of mine. But the goal is to have more analysis-based segments and really dig into the issue of guns in America from all sorts of different perspectives, because obviously. Major media has a lot of blind spots when it comes to firearms and gun owners and gun culture, and so I think it's a good faith effort on their part, at least in my experience thus far, to try and get a better grasp on what's really going on.
Well, you had done a really good piece with them on Reliable Sources where they talked to you about not exactly the bias in the media, although that was part of it, but more of what the media doesn't know and doesn't understand, and yet they think they know about guns and covering the issue. And you pointed out to them that, look, they generally put, general beat reporters on this who really don't know what they're talking about. And I'm guessing that interview probably played into this.
Yeah, I think so. That we started having conversations about this after that, so it wouldn't surprise me if that had some influence on their thinking. And you can see the results. They have now a team dedicated to guns in America. Obviously, we're still going to have to, prove to people that this is going to be a worthwhile exercise. I just did my very first hit this morning, so
right.
There's a long way to go there, and I fully understand that. But I do think that the channel itself seems to be interested in pursuing that. And this is something that I've been talking about, as you know, for years.
Right.
That a lot of the problem in media when it comes to gun coverage is not so much political bias, although that does certainly exist, but it's more like a lack of knowledge. There's a lot of ignorance around firearms when it comes to reporters, especially at major outlets, and that's something that can be changed fairly easily if channels if companies are willing to make the investment. Yeah.
Well, and that's I was going to say, and that's been my impression over the decades, is that they don't know about guns, and when you kind of get into that, it's like, number one, it's, well, we know enough, or we don't really need to know, or actually we know everything about this and you're wrong. But at no point in the past have any of them seemed to be willing to say, well, what do you really mean we don't know about this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's very true. And that was kind of the perspective of the Mother Jones executive editor that I was on alongside when I did Reliable Sources. And I think it's a pretty common point of view that you hear. But to be fair, I have heard a lot of reporters across the industry who are interested in trying to do better on the issue, at the very least in trying to understand the basics of it, right? The fundamentals, whether or not they change their minds on their personal opinion about guns is a different story. But if they're at least reporting accurately on how guns function, how our gun laws work, what these policies would do that have been proposed, that sort of thing, you're going to have better coverage overall.
What has CNN told you they want you to do?
Basically, they want me to be a subject matter expert They want me to go on and try to bring my level of knowledge to the discussion, and I'm able to pitch stories to them. Coming on not to be, the token gun guy on the right side of the panel in a three box setup where it's just talking points repeated at each other. That's not what they're interested in, which is great, because I'm not interested in that either. I'm interested in trying to have more nuanced conversations, trying to bring a better level of understanding to Guns in America for CNN's audience, and I think that's exactly what they want too.
We probably ought to back up. At your core, you're a journalist. You are a reporter, a journalist. You analyze, you dig, you find out things. You also happen to be into guns and like guns, and you made this one of your real areas. But you come to this from a journalist perspective in what I would call old journalism, because that's me, it's old journalism, which is, okay, let's get it right. At the core, I remember my journalism professors telling me, says there are 3 tenets in journalism: accuracy, accuracy, and accuracy. I don't know if that's still true for a lot of folks, but at least that's what I think of as journalism.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's how I approach things too. I'm a gun owner. I'm a certified firearms safety instructor. I like to build guns in my spare time. I like to go shooting. That's all part of my personality and who I am. But that's not the core of what I'm doing. I'm sure I have a different perspective than other reporters who don't have those things in their lives. But I mainly try to focus on being accurate, focus on getting the story right, focus on informing people. That's what I've always been about. That's what I think there's always been a lack of when it comes to guns in media. And so that's why I founded The Reload, right? And that's why I agreed to, be a part of CNN now.
Well, and of course, this is part of CNN trying to make a course correction, make a turn, and they've announced this where they're basically saying, look, we cannot be the super left. We've given up the position of us being an actual real news organization, and they're making this effort. We will figure out, in the future how well that goes. Tell me about your first hit today. How did it go? I didn't get to see it. I apologize.
Oh, I thought it went well. We talked about some of the polling going into the midterms and the lack of interest in guns as a political issue as we get closer to these elections. Which has been pretty interesting to see, that decline from earlier this year. This summer we had all these big gun stories happen. The Supreme Court ruling, the shooting in Uvalde, the bipartisan bill, all this stuff happened. But now people they're shifting more towards the economy and inflation as their top issues, and gun control has really waned a lot. And so I thought it was a fair interview. I thought it went well.
Okay. All right. So inside baseball here, got to tell them the secret story. Tell me about the tie tack you wore on your first hit and the significance of it.
Yeah. So that is a revolver tie tack that my grandfather gave me. He spent his whole career as a police officer, and then he became, actually a painter and a sculptor and woodworker after that. But he gave me his tie tack a couple of years ago, and I thought it'd be special to wear it. He's still around. He's 90 years old. He's still painting, and he's still reading my reporting. So it was, something I did to try and honor him a little bit.
Very cool, Stephen. Congratulations on the gig. I know it's an uphill battle, and a lot of people are saying, oh, you can't possibly change CNN. But being part of the effort, I think, is always worthwhile, and you can do something on the inside. You can never do something on the outside. So congrats.
Thank you. Yeah, and they haven't tried to make me say anything one way or the other, so I appreciate how it's gone so far. I hope
that's terrific. Keep us posted. Let us know. Send me notes, and I'll get the word out when you're going to be on again. Okay?
Absolutely.
Sounds good. Stephen Gutowski from The Reload. Check it out, therereload.com.